guys, so today I'm in a Ford Mustang at 2012 and I'm going to be reviewing the seats and the inside of the car. So the seats are very nice, cozy leather. In the inside of a Mustang, I know they seem very small, but they can haul some pretty big objects in here, so don't be afraid. And I approve. Bye now.
It's easy to miss, but if you watch that clip again and you pay very close attention, you'll see that she's actually sitting in a car. It's easy to miss. I don't blame you if you didn't pick up on that the first time because you're probably distracted by, her accent. I mean, it's nothing new. It's like when businesses hire, pretty girls to sell their products under the very correct assumption that horny men are more likely to buy it. Thirsty men are going to fall for it, but here's the thing. They're going to fall for it in the dating market as well. I'm going to tell you something about women that hopefully you've already noticed, which is that women use sex to sell the relationship. I'm going to say that again so it really sinks in. Women use sex to sell a relationship. Men want sex, okay? We know this, but what can a man offer a woman in return for that? And that's his commitment. That's a relationship. That's exclusivity, monogamy. This is, of course, a huge generalization with zero nuance whatsoever, but broadly speaking, this is how the two genders trade with each other in the dating market. Each has something that the other wants, and so they negotiate a price. Men want access to sex, and women want the safety of being in a relationship. You really see this dynamic play out very clearly when it comes to a top tier man, like some guy in the top 1% of all men, because he has a number of women all competing with each other for his attention. They all want to be the one who gets to be in a relationship with him, that gets to be his girlfriend. And one of the ways that they'll try and undercut the competition is by offering him sex. While all these other girls are being too frigid or stuck up to actually, get naked with the guy, they're going to be the ones that just give it up really easy. They're going to seduce him. And then after he gets very invested in the sex life, she's going to hope to be able to make the transition into a committed relationship. But here's what too many men don't understand, which is that even if the sex with a girl is really good, that does not mean that the relationship is going to be. Recently on Hey Hero, which is the platform where you can ask me advice, I've had a bunch of stories about guys who are in toxic relationships with women that they never should have dated in the first place. And when you press them on why the relationship continues, they admit it's because of the sex. If it hadn't been for access to sex, these guys never would have dated these low quality women to begin with. But it's one of the sexual strategies that is open and available to women. If you're a low quality woman with a really trashy, awful, toxic personality, you really don't have that much to offer a man in a relationship, you can still get your foot in the door by offering him sex. I bet there's some guys in the audience right now who are probably thinking to themselves, I wonder if I would stay with my girlfriend if she never slept with me again. Would I spend all this time with her? Would I invest all of this effort and energy? Would I give up my chance to meet other women and stay with my current girlfriend if there was no sex? For a bunch of guys out there, the answer is no. Who she is as a person, who she is as a girlfriend is just not that special if sex isn't part of the deal. Now, this might be coming across as kind of cynical, and some men might object to me, pointing all of this out because they believe that sex is special. But I'm here to tell you, it's not. Sex is not inherently special. Sex can be special when you're pair bonded with somebody, when it's an expression of love with somebody who you care about, who you trust, when it's vulnerable, when it's an expression of your, animalistic desires that you just surrender into. Yeah, that kind of sex is amazing and that is special. But that's sex at its highest expression. Sex can also be a really disgusting act, an expression of low self-esteem, self-hatred, loneliness. A lot of sex is dirty, cheap, and profoundly sad. I understand that that's a little bit gendered. Men are more likely to be like, hey, any sex is good sex. But I'm hoping some guys in the audience know at least a little bit what I'm talking about. They have had some sexual encounters that they have regretted, that made them feel cheap or like it lowered their self-esteem afterwards. I know lots of women have that experience. They have sexual experiences that they deeply regret. It's actually the topic of my latest Patreon video about how to handle it when a woman makes an embarrassing confession about her past. But the reason why I'm making this point, and I'm saying that sex is not inherently special, is because I want men to understand and realize that it is the depth of connection that you have with a woman and her quality as a person that makes sex something special. The physical act of sex itself is actually worthless. Now, horny men are not going to understand that because it's the nature of desire. When there's something that you want and you don't have it, you ascribe to it tremendous significance and meaning. All that really is a trick of your biology. I'm telling you, sex, it's not special. And you need to really internalize this. You need to understand it at a deep level, because so long as you continue to treat sex as though it really is this amazing, mystical, incredible experience, then your horniness is going to have the effect of elevating the women who could give you access to sex as though they're these incredible, angelic, deity figures, incredible goddesses who have the power to make you happy. And in the process of pedestalizing women to that degree, you're going to distort your own perception. You're going to get lost in your own horniness bias, and you're going to end up making some terrible decisions. The fact that you have sexual urges that she could satisfy does not make her a high quality woman. Do you want to know the true value of sex? Like just the physical act. Do you want to know what it's really worth? Let's find out. All right, check this out. This is a map of the world showing the cost of prostitution, like how much it takes to rent a woman's body for the purpose of sex. So go ahead and scan, try and find your country. So you can see my country there, Australia, costs about $300. In the United States, it's about $250, and that seems pretty standard across like the Western world. So that's the average, but obviously there's big variation in this. There's probably like high class escorts, which is an oxymoron, of course, but like they're going to go for like 10 times that much. And then there's probably also going to be some like really trashy bottom feeder kind of stuff as well. It looks very affordable in South America. I've actually got a map here. Check this out. This is what all the cost of like the average prostitution in South America. And you can see here that the cheapest country is Colombia, where it only costs $60 to sleep with a woman. The reason why this is depressing is because I'm guessing it's because of all the Venezuelan refugees. The situation in Venezuela is not good. So there's probably lots of desperate women out there who are just trying to not like die, give into poverty. So they're renting out their bodies to whatever men have got cash. I mean, I find that reality incredibly sad. And like, you can see my bias in this because I'm not trying to paint this as though this is like a positive thing or this is beautiful. It's not glamorous. I think it's deeply messed up. You've got desperate women who are fleeing some like political instability and like starvation. And so this is what they're resorting to. Or even Western countries, you'd be hard pressed to find sex workers who weren't like abused as children. And so they've got self-esteem issues, drug addictions and things like that. So this is what they're driven to. It's messed up, but do you see the point that I'm making is that as awful as the circumstances surrounding those encounters would be, it is still sex. It's depressing, it's transactional, but it still technically meets the definition of the physical act of sex. And so when you strip love and respect and connection and depth out of the equation and you just shrink it back to that physical act, those maps show you the true value of just sex, the physical act. It's a couple of $100s. So you guys out there who are really horny, who think sex is like this amazing, magical thing, you just think that that physical act is all there is to it. Well, there you go. Like, that's the true value of what it is that you're seeking. It's a couple of $100s. You can see how foolish it would be to imbue any more value than that, to elevate women as though they're so special because they are the gatekeepers of sex. They can offer you this thing when really it's not that special. It's not that valuable. Now, I'm hoping that at this point in the video, you're objecting to me and you're saying, no, you don't understand though. Like, yes, Alexander, I do want sex, but I want the special kind. I want the meaningful sex. I want something to be an expression of my love, my desire for that person, for the connection that we have. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm looking for. I want you to separate in your mind those two things. You've got the sex, you've got the physical act, and then you've got all the emotional like meaning that you imbue that act with. Those two are separate, distinct things. When they come together, it's beautiful, but just the sex by itself, that's not worth much. And it's good that you recognize that you want more than that. And so right now, while you're aware of that, while that desire is present inside you, that you're looking for something of more depth, of more meaning, understand that you need to take that present insight that you're feeling right now and then apply it whenever you encounter a woman. When you're out on a date, when you're at a party, you're in the dating market, you're meeting women, keep that in mind because that insight is going to inform you about what qualities you're looking for in a partner, about what standards you should hold for the person who's going to become your girlfriend. There's some woman who's interested in you and she's offering you sex in exchange for you becoming her boyfriend, offering all the benefits of her being in a relationship with you. But stop for a moment. Yes, you're horny. Yes, your biology is desperate for you to act, but just take a moment, take a breather and think, is this woman actually high quality? Is she nice to me? Is she feminine? Is she intelligent? Is she ambitious? Does she support me? Is she going to improve my life? If she does, great. Date her, sleep with her. I bet the sex is going to be phenomenal. Go for it, have fun. But if not, if the actual moment-to-moment experience of being in a relationship with her is not going to be enjoyable, it's not going to enrich your life in any way, the only part you really enjoy is the sex, then what are you doing? You're getting a bad deal. You did not trade well in the dating market. You're offering something very valuable, which is your commitment, for something that's actually not worth much. Of course, women don't want men to know this. Women want men to believe that sex is incredible, that it is special, that it is very valuable, because of course that puts them in a better position at the negotiating table. Like, hey, like I can extract a better price from this man for this relationship by telling him that the sex is really amazing and that it's worth a lot. This is one of the primary reasons why women slut shame each other. It's because they're trying to regulate each other's sexual expression. Because if you've got some woman out there who's just sleeping with all the men, giving it away for nothing, then it's going to reduce the value of sex in the mind of all of her potential suitors. All the men are thinking, why should I offer so much commitment to you just to sleep with you when there's all these other, slutty women who let me have sex with them for nothing? We've already told you what the reality of the value of sex is. It's a couple of $100. That's its value. And even if you have objections to prostitution, and you might think, okay, well, but sex just in a consensual way, in the dating market is really hard to get. It's actually not. You just have to lower your standards really, really low. If you're willing to sleep with women who have massive self-esteem issues, who are really like overweight and unattractive, both in body and mind, like toxic personalities, really hateful or whatever, like if you're willing to just sink your standards to that level, you can sleep with lots of women if that's what you want. You ever meet those like player guys whose self-esteem is based on the fact that, they've slept with lots of women, so that makes them the man? They'll actually brag to you about the number of women that they've slept with because they think it's like a demonstration of their masculinity. Those kinds of guys are making terrible choices, and they thrive off other people being jealous of them in order to make themselves feel better about those choices. Like, oh, so long as people are admiring me and jealous of me, I'm good. I don't need to actually take an honest reflection on my own destructive life choices. And they can be quite effective in that because single horny men do look up to them. They think, oh, I wish I could sleep with 50 women. Like, oh, you're amazing that you're able to do that. But the kind of man who's not impressed by the person who's having a whole bunch of one-night stands with like drunk women from the club is a guy who's happily married with children in like a long-term relationship with a high-quality woman. The difference in the quality of the sex between some random low-quality woman that you picked up who doesn't even know you or barely remembers your name and like a loving partner who's like a spectacular, impressive human being who's really into you and has committed her life to you. These are worlds apart. They can hardly even be called the same thing. For the guy who's racking up huge numbers, just sleeping with all these like trashy, low quality women, it doesn't matter if he slept with 10 or if he slept with 110. No amount of number of those kind of like awful encounters, those cheap, variations of sex is ever going to come anywhere close to an actual loving expression of sex between two people who are pair bonded. There are probably a bunch of guys right now who are single and horny and they don't believe me. They can't possibly imagine what I'm saying to be true. They're like, no, I just need the sex. Like that's what I'm craving. But go to the comment section. I bet you'll find a bunch of guys who are in relationships with high quality women who can attest to the truth of what I'm saying. Maybe this message I'm saying is not typical of the manosphere, which is all about like macho and like, yeah, sleeping with women. I don't know if this sounds dorky to say, but sex is better when you're in love with the person. If you want to see proof of this, check out my course, 100 Sides of Women, because it features some real stories with men coming to this realization. But the biggest takeaway of this video is that sex in and of itself is not valuable. It's not special. The physical act itself doesn't actually have much value, but it can become a really incredible experience depending on the person that you're doing it with and the level of connection you have with that person. I'm hoping this message is able to sink in deeper than your biology, because on the surface in your biology, I can understand that what I'm saying makes no sense. You're a guy, you're horny, you want to spread your seed, you want to sleep with lots of different women, you just want the sex. But I'm praying that you can just be still long enough for my words to go beyond that surface level and actually hit a part of your heart that actually knows what I'm saying to be true. And it's essential that you understand this, because so long as you continue to give undue credit to the act of sex and artificially inflate its value, it's going to distort your perception of the value of women. For a horny guy, every woman seems amazing, incredible, high quality. She's the goddess. goddess is going to be able to relieve me of my loneliness, of my horniness, of my desires. She must be incredible. She's not. That's just your biology talking. Sex is not that special. It's worth a couple of $100s. And so when you meet women and your biology is trying to, ramp up her value and tell you that she's amazing, just remember, she's not. Sex is not that special. Please have standards beyond that. Look deeper to see what kind of a quality of person she is and whether or not you would enjoy being her boyfriend if sex was absent from the relationship. If the answer is no, then don't date her. Hold out for somebody better.